let's talk about the pie, baby, right? We started putting these ingredients into the pie and showing them. And what became incredibly obvious is the next concept that I want to teach, which is what you see.
The Pac-Man
The
Principle, baby.
Pac, yes, the Pac-Man Principle. We are looking at returns per profit center. And what we're seeing here is a pie, and every profit center is broken out, right? And this is a typical property where rental income might be 20% of it, tax saving might be 3.3% of it, principal pay down 14% of it, and here home price appreciation is 62.5% of it. And when you color code it, that 62.5% looks like the majority of the pie. It looks like a Pac-Man with its mouth wide open. And we had the benefit of starting to do this over different portfolios, time over time over time over time, from Hervé to Zach to Leslie to, like all the folks in our community that are showing their growth. And it continued to prove that home price appreciation would hold somewhere between 60 and 75% of the overall pie, the overall wealth that was being grown was coming from it. So this idea of the Pac-Man and feeding the Pac-Man, feeding that home price appreciation, if what you want to do is maximize your wealth, became very, very real to us. And what that means is that for everybody that is so obsessed on what the monthly cash flow is, if they are not having a strategy for, am I in a growth market? How many of my homes are in a growth market? Then what they're really doing is just like growing the teeth of the Pac-Man instead of growing the Pac-Man itself, growing the pie itself, creating that wealth that is going to give you that security, that's going to continue to give you those options later on in life and later on down the cycle. You're missing out on that by trying to just like maximize the amount of chips on the table that you can take off every single time, as opposed to growing it. And that to me completely changed my perspective of what I wanted.
100%. And I think not only is it illuminating to see how your money is going to work, but I think comparing that to how average investors make decisions is also illuminating. You would think if the biggest part of the pie is going to be home price appreciation after a buy and hold strategy, that you would spend your time doing your due diligence and research on those components. And when I think about home price appreciation, I think of the team and I think of the market. Why do I think of the team? Number one, because in order to experience this type of home price appreciation, you're going to need to be investing for a full market cycle. And the team is the only way you're going to get there in one piece. The only way you're going to have a smile on your face year after year after year, right? You have to have a world-class client experience in order to get to a full market cycle. And then you need to choose that right market. And that team is going to help you choose that right market, based on these 5 profit centers. But most investors
Well,
see that piece of the
GC,
pie.
you're taking my third lesson away from me, man. You're
Sorry.
taking my third lesson. I agree. I love to hear you rant about this, but I also feel like this is my turn, bro. You've been the expert this whole time.
Sorry.
So correct. You're correct. It brings us back to these NPS scores, right? To the how do you provide a client experience? This idea that if we are maximizing the piece of the pie, then what we really want to maximize is longevity. And in order to maximize longevity, what became very obvious to me as I started going through this and started hearing everybody's stories is that client after client talked about, you know what? Yeah, there's been moments where it sucks. There's been moments where I'm sitting across a dinner table from my husband or my wife, and we had to have the conversation of, okay, right now it's a time where we actually do need to put a little bit more money back in, right? And what keeps us here? And all of them, it seemed like their answer was, we decided to do it because we knew that this was a blip. We knew that we feel super supported. We knew that even though we're having to make one tough decision, what's going on behind the scenes is like 30 things in motion that we don't even have to worry about. And we knew that the people that are taking care of this property are in it with our best interests in mind. They have our goals in mind. They know our whys, and they are incentivized in a way to drive performance for us, right? So this idea of what you're saying, the importance of the team, became very real to me. And that's when the third concept really became obvious to me, which is the order of operations fallacy. And we are so used to having, thinking, all right, are we going to invest in rental properties. Cool. Let's go look for a property. Let's look for a deal. Let's go find this thing that we're going to buy and what it looks like and where it is and all these different things. And we become so obsessed with it that we spend 90 to like 98% of our effort looking for a rental property. Often we're looking for a rental property under these other fallacies of just like, I can't pick whatever market I want. I'm going with like wherever I have an advantage of finding a property, not like what I want the market to look like to maximize for home price appreciation, to like keep in mind my goals. And then we spend 5 minutes, maybe like Google the 5 best property managers in the location. We make a spreadsheet, we find out their price, and we go with whichever one gives us the best feel. But if what we are trying to do is take into account all these 5 profit centers, grow the pie as big as possible, know that we're going to have some tough times at certain moments when people live in your homes, and want to feel supported, want to have a world-class experience, then the order of operations should be reversed. You should spend all your time thinking about, hey, where do teams exist that when the chips are down, I'm going to feel good about? Where do teams exist that have a certain critical mass that I know that they're not fly-by-night companies that in year 12 of owning this property, they're not going to go out of business? Where do teams exist that have the data and perspective and technology that allows me to see how things are doing? So when it feels like the world is crashing because, hey, maybe I gotta get a new roof or something, that I can look and be like, oh, wait a minute, I have $300,000 in this property and this is how it's performed. And I've actually weighed way more than whatever this is going to cost. And it's only starting right now and it's only getting better. And this is the prognostication. And this is what my plan looks like. And I can stay in it, right? Like we spend that much time figuring out where those teams exist. Then we can say, okay, that team exists in Jacksonville and in this place and in this place and in this place. We can then look at those markets and think, okay, now what are my goals? When am I looking to like count on this cash flow in this market? I believe that at that day, I'm going to have, this much wealth and this much cash flow. And this market, I'm going to have this much cash flow and this much wealth. And in this market, I'm going to have this much cash flow and this much wealth. And that's when you make that decision of, that the team exists there, that the market exists there, and then you go into the property and now you're really setting yourself up to succeed. That combination of things, understanding the 5 profit centers, understanding the number 1 profit center that creates millionaires, and understanding the mechanism behind being able to take advantage of that profit center are the 3 lessons that I have seen over and over again in this community. And it's the reason why we've produced outstanding results. And I myself have been able to go from like, I'm renting and I don't know if real estate for me and I think it might leave me behind, to I now own 5 properties. I now have a net worth north of $1 million thanks to all of this stuff. And it happened during the times of my career when I was making the least amount of money, because what I did was just pull forward demand into this asset class and do it the right way.
Brother, you have come so far in such a short period of time, man.